Copy 724, Roger. Center maintain 2000.
Center maintain 2074.
Comment 504 to center maintain 3000.
3000, comment 504.
And for Copy 724 is our traffic about our 1230.
That's 12:31 o'clock, Copy 724 now.
Okay, we got it.
Copy 724, maintain visual separation. Mechanic clear visual approach, only 4 right.
This is visual 4 right, maintain visual separation from traffic, Copy 724.
Comment 504, radio speed 170 for tower space. You can follow the Boeing 727, 1 o'clock, 6 miles right stage, descending out of 3500.
We got to hit this side with 12,
Comment 504, follow traffic, clear visual approach, only 4 right, maintain 170 knots, 5 mile final.
170 so far out.
Yeah, 724, maintain 170 knots, 5 mile final, contact Boston Tower
5 mile final, Copy 74.
Comment 504, traffic behind the left speed, Embraer 135 to the parallel runway that maintains some separation from the ocean.
504. Descending at the airport, sir.
Take a 570, clear visual approach, runway 4 left.
There they go, 570.
Take a 470, traffic, 1238 miles, 3,600, descending for the parallels on our deck.
I'll look at 570.
Comment 504, contact Boston Tower 132.22.
32.2, so what if I go forward?
Here's 328 box first, thank you. Take a flight 570, the RJ just crossing the tank now, 1235 miles, 1,700. Take a 570, visual separation, now contact Boston Tower 128.8. Here's 328, center maintain 2,500, you're going to follow an Embraer on an 8-mile straight up final. Here's 320, thanks. I'll let you follow him in just a moment. Maintain visual separation with them for now, caution light clear line. Thank you. Expect to follow them at about 2 miles.
To maintain 3000, return to 354.
Here's 328, shore left heading 110. All the Embraer proceeding down runway 4 left, descending at pilot discretion. Here's 328, caution light clear line, contact Boston Tower 128.8. Yes.
Eagle 579, traffic.
Take a flight 539 box first, the morning 5210, descending maintain 4,000.
310 and a 45. First coming out 182, 7,700.
Comment 182 box first, the morning thanks, descending maintain 4,000.
4,000, coming out 182. Canada 354, turn right heading 310. Right turn 310, Canada 354. Yeah, 354, traffic in left turn to the parallel runway, being Embraer 135, everything Canada visual separation. Okay, we're looking for it, thank you. Northwest 382, we're on to the first up. 5 mile final. Okay, 170 till 5 final. We'll clear the visual 4 right at Canada 354. Okay, just facing Delta North Carolina. Canada 3028, Harry, whatever, please.
British for the Embraer, clear visual bridge, runway 4 left.
One state head, site maintaining visual separation, contact Boston Tower 132.22. Okay, 3222, or Canada 354.
539, maintain at least 170 knots to 6 GMA, please.
17 to 60,
Ego 539, thanks. Contact Boston Tower 128.8.
28, no.
Yes.
Canada 724, roger. Center maintain 2000.
Center maintain 2074.
Comment 504 to center maintain 3000. 3000, 504.
And protect 74 is our traffic about our 1230.
That's 12:31 o'clock, episode 24 now.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah, episode 24, maintain visual separation. The Canada clear visual approach, runway 4 right.
Clear visual 4 right, maintain visual separation from traffic at visual.
Comment 504, we need speed of 170 for tower station. Get following the Boeing 727, 1 o'clock, 6 miles right station, descending on 3500.
We got hit inside with going back 170 on top of 4.
Comment 504, follow traffic, clear visual approach, runway 4 right, maintain 170 knots to 5 mile final.
170 till 5 out, and then visual 4 right, contact 504.
Yeah, 724, maintain 170 knots to 5 mile final, contact Boston Tower 132.22.
155 mile final, Canada 74.
Comment 504, traffic behind the left being an Embraer 135 to the parallel only, that maintains visual separation from you.
504 right. Standing as the airplane, sorry.
Ego 570, clear visual bridge, runway 4 left.
There it is, 570.
Ego 470, traffic, 1238 miles, 3,600, descending for the parallels on RJ.
Hour with the 570.
Comment 504, contact Boston Tower 132.22.
Contact Boston Tower 128.8.
28.8, take it easy, 57.
See ya.
Centuries ago, famed mathematician Katherine Johnson wrote, "The whole idea of going into space was new and daring. There were no textbooks, so we had to write them." Now, the United Federation of Planets stands on a new brink of exploration and learning, yet again pushing beyond the bounds of contemporary understanding, and for a new dawn proclaim proudly once again, these are the Voyages of.
First Officer's Log. Admiral Giovanni has requested I attend a retirement party for one of the architects of the Treaty of Bajor. Commander Cooper and Lieutenant Haskins have joined me for the trip through the wormhole to Deep Space Nine. Hopefully, Cooper won't be stuck in too many meetings concerning his work in the Gamma Quadrant to keep him from enjoying the party. Dr. Haskins has been requested by Captain Gravov, a Rigelian officer assigned to Ambassador Worf on Konos, but the reason for the request has not been given to me at this time.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the Voyages of here on Rook and Rasp. We'll be following the story of the USS Serenitis as it continues its mission to explore the Gamma Quadrant. We're using the Star Trek Adventures RPG rules from Modiphius. As a reminder, we are in no way affiliated with the Modiphius. We just really enjoy their game. I'm Matt, and I'll be running the game tonight. Joining me is Amber Jacoba playing Commander Halata. Phil Durham playing Lieutenant Commander Zeke Cooper. And Sean Parks playing Lieutenant Commander Dr. Keed Haskins. Just as a reminder, you've got Cthulhu's if you're watching. They're right there underneath the chat. They look like a little magnifying glass. You can use those to buy momentum or threat. Definitely threat. Actually, threat's not going to be a big deal tonight, so just an FYI. I'll find a way to use it, but we don't need it. You can also get rerolls, and there may be some of those too that are needed. And then you can always tip for NPCs to name them and maybe give them a sheet. Depends on how much you tip as to how intricate they are. Before we start the game tonight, I did want to mention Jason Piercy, who does the voice of Captain Krenthel Threx here on the show, is got a Kickstarter launching tonight. It is a RPG called The Real Thing. It is an official Faith No More role-playing game. So if you like the Faith No More band, you should definitely check that out. The Kickstarter goes live at midnight Eastern tonight. Between now and then, though, you can go over to accidentalcyclops.com/TheRealThingRPG and check that out there. And then I'm sure that their Kickstarter will be up and running, and you'll be able to link to it from there if you want to go check that out. Oh, hey, Roxy is definitely doing. Oh man, there's some stuff going on in chat. Okay, we got more threat and more momentum. That's good.
Thank you, chat.
So, as was mentioned on the last 2 weeks and on all the other episodes, we have been sending all subscriptions, donations, and Ko-Fis to the Red Cross in Ukraine. The channel raised the channel raised just under $150, but we went ahead and rounded up, and then an anonymous donor decided to match that. So we are officially giving $300 to the Red Cross for their work in Ukraine.
It's awesome.
It's not huge, but every little bit helps, and we're really happy that we have such a great community that can help us get that money together and help us kind of help out in Ukraine however we can. So looking at chat, just make sure I didn't miss any. Can I get another momentum?
Yeah, we got another one. We're at 5.
You guys are momentum.
Thank you, chat.
It's a momentous night, I guess. And tonight is our season finale. Don't log off. Just saying, there's stuff at the end that doesn't apply to these 3 characters, but will next season. So, the 3 of you... Wow, Roxy really wants you guys to have a bad time tonight. Just keep buying threat. The 3 of you arrived up the last night to Deep Space Nine in the runabout Thames. Yeah, that's what I meant. You are here for a diplomatic conference. Deep Space Nine is now a full Federation outpost. It is currently captained. It's currently captained by Kira, Captain Kira, who formerly was of the Bajoran militia. There's a bit of diplomatic conference, and then there will be a celebration of the retirement of one of the admirals who was instrumental in the signing or the formation of the Treaty of Bajor that ended the Dominion War. And that admiral is Admiral Porter of Earth. He's getting up in years, probably closer to 80 than 70, and his mind was sharp for that, but kind of put that feather in the cap and walk away. Mr. Cooper, Dr. Cooper?
Yeah.
Mr. Cooper Esquire? You have been asked to sit with several people and discuss the first contacts you've made. You've made more than just what we've done on the stream, and the kind of the diplomatic work that's going on in the Gamma Quadrant. You guys got in around lunchtime, Deep Space Nine time yesterday, and you spent most of the day from then on, before you could even get settled, in meetings into the evening, and then this morning you've got a full list of meetings as well. Mr. Haskins, or Dr. Jeez, you are Dr. Haskins.
I am
don't
a
even know
doctor.
who I'm talking to.
You're
Dr. Haskins.
the counselor. I did the doctor.
Right. Dr. Haskins, you have been you've been doing a little bit of trade-off of information, specifically medically, with the new species you've met. Starfleet would love to put a lot of that information in their database. You've been sending it back, but also this is a chance to discuss it. And also, that there's a diplomatic captain who is coming from Kronos to speak with you.
Oh, the pleasures of dealing with other Klingons.
Yeah. And then, Halada, you're just here because you're the first officer of essentially the flagship of the Gamma Quadrant, and that's a pretty big deal. So you all three have had meetings. Dr. Haskins, your meetings have not been nearly as back to back to back, but Halada, yours and Mr. Cooper's have, and you probably sat in on the same meetings, giving reports and discussing things, and a lot of it feels like looks for allies. But could I get an insight and command roll, or psychology or science, with psychology applying?
I'll actually take the insight command.
Okay. Or I guess not science, medicine. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking.
I'll take medicine.
Difficulty is going to be a 2. Psychiatry. Yeah, we'll say psychiatry applies. Galactic politics would definitely apply, Halada.
Okay.
I think I'll buy a die.
Cool. So that'll put us down to 4, I think.
I think we got 2 at least. Okay, I did get 3 successes.
Fantastic. So that's 1 back in the pool.
I got
What
1
about
and a
you?
complication.
Fantastic. I'm going to take, you know what? What's your... I can look at that. Oh, yeah, your presence is a little rough. As you're kind of in these meetings discussing things, it's very clear that the Admiralty and the Diplomatic Corps are looking for a place to set up a starbase in the Gamma Quadrant. They are leaning towards the Bajoran planet where the crash survivors landed. It's defensible, especially with the weird shield around the planet, and it's close enough to the wormhole that there can be good communication between the Alpha and the Gamma Quadrant. Halada, you sit in on a meeting with a couple of captains, and it just doesn't go well. They want to know why things weren't done differently, why the pirates were allowed to be given to the Cardassians. Like, it's very clear that they think that you've done a very poor job, or that Captain Threx has. There's no dressing down, and there's no fear of it going in your permanent record or anything like that, but they are very unhappy with how a lot of what's going on in the Gamma Quadrant has gone. They are, 2 of them are specifically Vulcan, and come at it from a very logical, like, why would you hand any prisoner of the Federation over to the Cardassians? And there's concern from the Andorian, who's also there, that those are the three of them, that your chief of security is in over her head, or over his head, which you quickly try and quash, but they don't seem to listen. You don't get that vibe from anyone else. You don't know if it's just those Vulcans and that Andorian are a little persnickety, or if it was just, that was a later at night meeting, so maybe they were tired. Who knows? So I would say early on the second morning, the three of you meet before going to meetings to grab breakfast?
Yeah.
We're not so booked that we're
No.
eating breakfast
in the meeting.
Yeah, today's a little less booked, but still pretty solid for at least Cooper and Halana. Haskins, you know that at some point Captain Gravov is going to find you, but that's not been anything official set aside.
I could try and hide from him, go up to the Hollow Suites and try and disappear.
Sure. Do you guys just meet at the Replimat, the generic little food place?
Yeah, probably.
Kind of find some place to sit.
Someplace quiet and out of the way.
Fantastic. So the three of you begin talking. Rigelians are best described by the book as saber-toothed turtles. It's not a joke.
Okay.
That's how the book describes them. That is their ancestry. So they very much have a hard shell. It's not much like a turtle where it's that much bigger. But they have a hard-shelled back, and their canines are more pronounced than you would expect from most other species, but it's not like they stick out from their mouths. And Captain Gravov, who is a Rigelian, approaches the table this morning and kind of quietly says, Commander Halana, Commander Cooper, Dr. Haskins, could I join you for breakfast?
Yes, please.
By all means.
He's like, no! He sits down. He puts down a plate of what is very clearly like human flapjacks. He says, I don't often... Kronos is a very specific kind of culinary planet, and it's nice to have something else.
Something that doesn't wiggle, you mean?
Or slap you, or fight back. Like, there's a lot of options.
Or drenched in blood. I mean, the list goes on. You think the Klingons would know by now that there's more sauces out there besides blood wine or blood.
Or bloody blood wine, yeah. I agree. Commander Halada, I wanted to make sure that you were here, and Commander Cooper, you might as well be here as well. I don't see a reason you can't have this conversation in front of you. But as Dr. Haskins' commanding officer, I wanted to make sure you were aware of the situation, and this was not something that... These are not diplomatic back channels. This is an official request from the Klingon Empire. Dr. Haskins, your mother has claimed the head of her house and is requesting your presence. And it has come officially through channels.
Gonna kind of lean back and like, wow, she finally did it, huh?
Yeah. I have met her, and I have found her to be a very typical Klingon. Although, for a woman in the Klingon society to gain head of house, she has worked quite hard and has been probably a little more ruthless than a male counterpart would have had to have been. But she is leading House Strata very solidly, and she sits on the High Council now. Her request has been presented. Officially, Ambassador Worf has no opinion on this. Unofficially, Ambassador Worf understands being torn from two worlds, and he will do his best to support you in whatever decision you.
I mean, I'm not exactly torn from two worlds. I mean, Ambassador Worf definitely has a different perspective. I mean, he was full Klingon, abandoned by the Empire, and raised by human parents. I mean, my situation is, as soon as my mother could get away from my father and I, she did, and I haven't heard from her since.
I believe that the impression I'm supposed to give is that the mistakes of youth are not necessarily the realities of the present.
Yeah, the reality from my perspective is that she finally is in a position that she won't jeopardize her honor or her standing in the house, and that's the only reason she's reaching out. And it probably would look good to Ambassador Worf, and Martog is the High Chancellor now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And High Chancellor Martog to, welcome back their half-breed, because that would definitely be impressive to the both of them.
I can't say that I agree fully with your read of the situation, but I don't think that it's an unfair reading.
So how strongly is this being presented? I mean,
I promised your mother I would tell you officially.
Because my
understanding that she sent unofficial requests. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, members of the house that were a little too enthusiastic to try to greet the long-lost son.
The alliance between the Klingons and the Federation is not at stake here. I have no concerns about that. Ambassador Worf is of House Martok. I can't imagine the Chancellor allowing a member of the High Council to cause enough trouble with the Federation that would be in any danger.
Worried about that, but
I'll say
if she's on the High Council... Oh, go ahead.
I will say she's been very persistent. I don't see her letting this drop. She might not create enough trouble to put anything in jeopardy, but you probably won't have any peace until you go.
I will also say that your mother is... It's not dishonorable if you don't get caught.
Don't get caught.
So she has... There's no proof and only rumors that she has acted in covert manners to get her position.
Oh.
And if she's willing to do that to her own people, I would be concerned what she might do with you.
Before I go into this, because I got to remember, because this was a while ago. Did I tell the captain and Halada about
Yes.
the microchip? Okay, cool.
Oh, about the microchip, I don't know. Do you guys remember?
I know I told the captain. I think Halada was there. I think I asked her advice before going to the captain.
Okay. Yeah, then yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. I'll look at Commander Halada and look at Zeke and be like, well, the commander already knows about this, but she's already smuggled a covert communication device to me in the house dagger that she sent. The captain's aware of it. There's some implications. Jeez, implications that could jeopardize her position, especially with Martog and Worf. I've kept it under the table. The captain knows about it. I wasn't going to jeopardize my standing with the Federation about it, but maybe remind her that her life could become more difficult if she pushes things too much. I would be more than happy to turn that over to you to present back to the ambassador.
Is that something you wish to push along official channels or unofficial channels?
Unofficial right now.
Excellent.
If she keeps pushing, it'll become more official.
I don't wish to have the communication device at this time. that sounds like a terrible idea.
Well, it's back on the Serenitis under lock and key, so I don't have it with me.
But I will pass along the information to her. I'm not sure how she will receive it. Although, he kind of leans in a little bit. There are Klingons on the station, but it's not. There's a ship docked here, and they're doing a little bit of like shore leave. He says, Klingons will be Klingons. She's not going to take this well.
No,
I can't
she
imagine
won't.
her taking this well.
She's never taken it well when someone opposes her. That's why I'm surprised my father survived when he demanded that she stay.
Well, officially, I have made my request, as I was supposed to.
I appreciate
He's been
it.
eating while this is happening. He's not quite finished, but he sets down his fork and knife. He says, unofficially, Ambassador Worf thinks that it would be good for you to see your homeworld. He has expressed very clear feelings about that. Not that that's a command in any way, shape, or form, but he always felt that he was a little disconnected from himself when he wasn't there.
Well, I mean, I'll take that under advisement. It probably gives me more food for thought that it's Ambassador Worf that's suggesting it rather than my mother. So I take the honor that is, and we'll take it under consideration.
I would be, if you were to come to Kronos, I would be happy to act as your guide, or as at least a friendly face while you were there.
Appreciate that.
Same goes for you, Commander Halata, and Cooper. Although, Commander Cooper, I'm sure you've read, but the diplomacy in Klingon society is a little different. Usually has a lot to do with being punched first.
Yeah, it was my mind.
He kind of stands up and says, "Okay, I've done what I was supposed to do. I can enjoy the rest of this. Hopefully, I'll make my report. I know that the ambassador is waiting to get back. If you need anything, I am around."
I appreciate it, and please don't take my don't take my manners in any way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to shoot the messenger. It's just a lot to process because she has literally had nothing to do with me my entire life.
I know. I can't imagine. I mean, I was born on Rigelia. My parents educated me on my Rigelia and watched me go to Starfleet Academy. I can't imagine coming from a different place like you have. It would definitely leave me feeling quite different than I do.
It was interesting, to say the least.
Commanders, you have a good day. And he kind of turns with his tray and walks away. I need all of you to give me insight and command.
What are we shooting for?
Difficulty is difficulty's a 5, but it's for all of you. So together you'll need a 5.
So insight.
Galactic politics supplies.
Means I got 3 successes.
I'm too lost in what he said because I failed it completely. No success.
Fantastic.
2.
3.
So that's 5. It's perfect. That's exactly what you guys needed. There is some hesitation in Captain Gravov's approach to this, which is obvious, but the more that he talked about it, the more it's clear that he is stuck in a very uncomfortable position where he is essentially not yet commanding, but could be stuck commanding Dr. Haskins to go to Kronos. Also, the situation may come down that while it wouldn't hurt the Alliance, it sure would be nice to not have one of the that thing.
The High Council.
The High Council. Jeez. It would be nice to not have a house on the High Council angry with the Serenitis, because who knows who could be in the Gamma Quadrant, and when a little Klingon help might be helpful.
We're just going to go help everybody.
I'm sorry?
So we're just going to go help everybody.
I mean, that
Romulans want a little help.
Yeah. I'm going to look at both Halada and Zeke and be like, well, that's definitely not a rock or a hard place now, is it?
She does keep making the pressure go up, for sure.
I don't know.
I applaud your boundaries.
Unfortunately, I don't think those boundaries are going to apply, because if she puts enough pressure on the right people in the Federation, it's going to be... I'm going to have to go no matter what my preference is. Either that or resign my commission, and then I've got no protection whatsoever, and I'll just be hijacked onto a bird of prey and taken to Kronos against my will.
Yeah, that's probably not your best option. As I said before, if you end up needing to go and it's a situation where we can both be spared, I will go with you.
I appreciate that, Commander.
As you guys are kind of finishing up breakfast and having this chat, you are approached by... oh, jeez. My brain. What is going on?
We can all work good today, I promise.
Yeah. Sorry, give me just a second to look up this name that should be right in my head and not for some reason. Commander Ro Laren approaches the table. Can I get... we'll call it Insight Command from all three of you. Difficulty is 2.
I got 1 success.
Okay.
I also got 1 success.
Zeke, did you say 2?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
Okay. Zeke, you know that Ro Laren is a Bajoran who joined Starfleet prior to the Federation coming to Deep Space Nine. She was dishonorably discharged twice. She was discharged once and then brought back by Captain Picard, and then discharged again when she defected to fight with the Maquis. However, you know that she has been reinstated and been given a promotion to commander by the Bajorans' request. So there's a politics going into this, but she is second in command on the station.
Okay.
Oh.
Commander Cooper, Commander Halada, Dr. Haskins, I am Commander Rowe. I would love to have a meeting with you this morning. I know that your schedule's already booked, and I have unbooked the next hour or so.
Then our time is yours.
All right.
If you'll come with me, and she kind of heads off towards one of the mini conference rooms you guys saw last night.
Yeah. I'll double check that cancellations are actually there and all that.
Yeah.
What's up with this?
You guys walk to what is essentially the command pod. So for our listeners at home, or if our viewers at home, not listeners, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Our viewers at home, if you're not familiar with Deep Space Nine, the actual ops sits in its own kind of pod on top of the center of Deep Space Nine. And there are several conference rooms up there, and they're all military only, essentially. So only Starfleet gets in there, and doesn't really have civilians or anything running around. Looking for another name. As you walk in, there's a commander. Where's his name? I promise I'm way better than this.
You're fine.
My brain is just junk tonight, so sorry about that. There's a commander sitting there. Nope, that's not him. Man. As well, we'll talk about the commander here in a second. As well as an engineer, a Ferengi named Nog, who is not chief engineer, but is quickly becoming chief, or getting that direction. He's currently a lieutenant. I would say all three of you are familiar with Nog because of the only, the only Federator, the only Ferengi in the Federation. He's a very competent engineer and was pretty integral to a few of the battles in the Dominion War. So there's a lot that he has done for kind of the Federation itself, and it's pretty off for Ferengi. Like Ferengi are not known for like getting into battle. They're known for a lot of other things. But like joining the Federation is not normal. There's also Chief of Security Jefferson Blackmer, who is known to be an operative of Starfleet intelligence, but also Chief of Security of the station. Bro kind of like moves into the room. There's little bits of food kind of out and drinks, and says, "Please sit down. I've just got there's some questions we have. The Bajoran government has some questions about the planet that was found, and the Cardassians that were sent back, and then we had some further questions about the Sartorian Nucracy. And Dr. Haskins, any insight? I know that your primary focus is not diplomacy, but any insight from the medical division would be fantastic."
All right.
So it's our understanding that you found a shielded planet. Is that correct? Oh, why am I not hearing you, Amber?
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
There you are.
Nope.
Yes, we did find a shielded planet. Yes.
And there were interactions with the Bajorans there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, give me just a second. Would you describe those as confrontational?
Amber, the player, doesn't remember.
That's okay. So why don't you go ahead and give me another insight? Again, politics is going to play in a lot here. Keep applying that until I tell you.
All right. What's the difficulty?
Difficulty's 2.
All right. Got 2 successes.
Fantastic. You remember it being quite confrontational. They were essentially treating the Cardassians that they had with them as
slaves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one now.
Yeah, because I knew once we touched on it, it would pop.
Yeah.
That's the one where I ended up arguing with the Gull until we got them off planet.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember that now.
And then I got to pull Klingon aggression because they tried to take over our runabout and put them in their place and promised them to treat them good.
It was not the smoothest of interactions.
The colonist, well, we're going to call them colonists. The crash survivors, I guess, would be more accurate, but since it's being claimed as a colony of Bajor now, there's only, got to call it what it is, I guess. The colonists, especially their leader, do you feel that other than the Cardassian incident, that they're capable of leading a colony, or would it be better to find an administrator somewhere within the Federation? You can make up whatever you want, Palada. Doesn't matter what the answer is. It's just as long as it comes from kind of where your character's at.
I believe that so long as there are not old tensions running high, they will do just fine. They seemed to have everything fairly under control. There were just, I mean, racism, honestly. So,
I mean, I joined the Maquis, so I can't say much. But I do understand that there are old wounds that need to be healed. And the new Cardassian government is working to do some of that. And I appreciate the work that they're trying to do. Whether it's successful or not is a whole other matter.
yeah.
Would you feel that a Starfleet advisory group would be helpful?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper, or Commander Cooper, sorry, she doesn't outrank you. Or yeah, I guess she does. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Commander Cooper, what's your read on the situation?
My read would be that while offering them support that they choose to request and use at their discretion is the best approach. I don't know that it would be easy to bring someone in to lead who didn't go through the shared experience that they have.
That's a fair assessment. My concern is that the colony itself is going to grow immensely, very quickly, and go from a few hundred people to possibly tens of thousands. It's a very wonderful planet, from what I hear, and I would love to see a good Bajoran colony in the Gamma Quadrant, and that particular planet has some technological mystery to it that I think that the Starfleet Science Division would be very interested in studying to see what we can do to kind of replicate that, perhaps. Who knows? Dr. Cooper, you had experiences on the planet, correct? I'm sorry, Dr. Haskins. I don't know what I just said.
I was gonna say, I actually think I wasn't on that one.
No, you were not, actually.
Yes, I was there. I treated the Cardassians that we rescued.
In your professional medical opinion, are the colonists of right mind to lead a colony?
No.
What would be if we were to say we want to leave them in charge, what would you see as the steps to get there?
Remind me, Matt, what was the population of Bajoran?
It was I want to say it was like 75.
Just 75?
Yeah.
So you're talking about a group of people 75 Bajorans that subjugated and systematically abused and tortured the Cardassians to keep them in line. And I totally, fully understand. I did not disagree with the Maquis and what trying to stop the Cardassians from doing. But there's also a limit to systematic abuse as well, and that's what we saw on the Cardassians. So you have a group of 75 people that ruled themselves with an iron fist, so to speak, and I don't think they're prepared to rule a colony of Bajorans with it being kind of a gateway into the Gamma Quadrant and tons of different species coming in and out, including possibly Cardassians.
Yeah, if there's potential for them to have more interaction with more Cardassians or even non-Bajorans, and especially the amount of people you're saying they might end up there, that's a different scenario than a slowly growing colony.
Do you think that a Starfleet advisory board would help some of that transition if we sent someone out with the skills and the ability to teach those skills to run a colony as an administrator? Do you think that they would be worth that time and effort, or
everybody's worth, redemption? I mean, what are they called? I can't remember. I just remember her name. What are the religious leaders of Bajor?
Oh, Vedics.
Maybe get a Vedic that is specializes in diplomacy or even dealing with recovery from what the Cardassians did to Bajor. Along with, it doesn't have to be Starfleet. I mean, you just get some Bajoran council members that are used to dealing with larger settlements than 75 people.
I would expect a temple would go up there quickly, but a good Vedic or a half dozen would probably go a long way. That's a good idea. Are the Cardassians, are the three of you aware of what happened to those Cardassians?
I don't know if we covered that in the show. We took it back to the Serenitis.
It was actually mentioned last week, Commander Cooper.
Oh, oops. I haven't watched
that
this.
was
2 weeks ago.
I thought that was a different...
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. You're right.
Okay.
I thought that
Yeah,
was
I was trying to remember if I was present for the conversation or not.
I honestly thought that was a different group of Cardassians.
I thought you were. If not, you'd be aware of it.
Sure. It's our understanding that they're with the Federation organization.
Would you be willing to tell me which organization? Because officially, we can't find them.
I'll look to Commander Alana. Section 31?
Nog kind of like is taking a drink and like half spit takes on the table. The chief of security, his face goes very dark, and Commander Rowe kind of sits down, sits back, not sits down, sits back, and says, "Okay." The security officer like leans forward a little bit, and he says, "Where did you get that information?"
This guy's supposed to be from intelligence, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And what's his rank again?
He's a lieutenant.
You'll have to ask your supervisor, Commander, Lieutenant.
He smiles a little bit and looks over at Rowe and says, "Have you gotten any reports? Because I haven't seen any." She shakes her head. "We have not been informed of any reports that."
He hasn't asked me a question, so.
They both kind of look over at Halata. Commander, are you aware?
There have been some fairly mysterious back channel things happening. And I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that is where some of this information has come from. It has been reported, but it's been reported very quietly because we're not really sure who all really sure who all on the ship is contributing to this.
The security officer says, "It's Section 31. I think we all understand the implications."
Yeah.
It's my understanding that the Serenitis has been involved with the Cardassian, with Cardassians, specifically the Romulan Empire and the Klingon Empire. So unless you obtain this information from an outside source during a diplomatic mission, it has to be one of those three. Does that seem like a fair assessment?
The data would lean that way.
And I would like to further posit that the Cardassians in the Gamma Quadrant are not helpful.
Oh, you can posit away on that.
That is the nicest way we can put that. The Klingons, I apologize, Dr. Haskins, are not known for their intelligence at this level. Which leaves us the Tal Shiar? Would that be correct, Mr. Cooper? Oh, he does not. No, Commander Cooper, he does not outrank you at all.
The data would continue to support your approach.
Can you give me, let's say, a presence medicine with psychiatry.
All right.
Difficulty is going to be a 2.
Oh, that's so close.
Oh no.
I just got the 1 success. I don't have a complication or anything.
We
But it's that close to a critical.
Okay. Oh, that close. Oh, so just 1 success.
Just 1 success.
He kind of shakes his head, says, well, if that's the case, I would like to formally request that the Serenitis pass on any information about the Tal Shiar to me, the Chief of Security of Deep Space Nine, and also a member of Starfleet. I will get the proper permissions, but I wanted to make sure that it's stated here. I will make sure that everything is signed and T's crossed, I's dotted, and we'll get that out to the Serenitis as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
Nog, the engineer, speaks up and he says, "Tell me, can you? I know that none of you are engineers, but can one of you tell me about the shielding a little more? Just describe a little bit more about it. I'm almost ready to just put up for the first ship out there to go look at it. It sounds fascinating."
Did we bring an engineer down on that one? I don't remember.
Yes, Anbara was there because,
Okay. I am going to attempt to quote whatever Ambara said about it.
Fantastic. Give me a presence command.
All right. What's the difficulty?
Difficulty is 2.
All right.
We have a lot of momentum if you want to buy a die.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay. So that'll put us down to 5 momentum.
Okay, I got. Do any of my focuses apply?
Oh, I'm not on the right sheet. Hold on. No.
Okay.
Not really.
Then I got 2 successes.
Fantastic. So you kind of describe it to him. He takes notes on a pad. And he's just fascinating. Would it be possible? And I don't have any clearance to request it, but would it be possible to get that information passed along? Any part that I can study, any part that's not classified.
Go through the command structure here. It's definitely been reported to where it's in Starfleet archives.
Fantastic. I will. He looks over at Commander Rowe and she nods. Yeah, I know, Nog. Then Rowe kind of turns back and says, "So the Sartorian Nucracy. It's my understanding their sensors are good."
Astounding.
And that we didn't bring an engineer or your pilot with you. Their ships are fast and agile, correct?
I have flown one of their ships. It like nothing we have.
I see. If you had to rate them as a threat on a scale of 1 being a very disgruntled human with no ship whatsoever, and 10 being a bunch of Klingons who are drunk on blood wine and disruptors at the ready, where would you put the Nucracy in as far as danger to the Federation plans?
My best guess would be about a 4. If they decided that we were a problem, they could do a lot, but I don't see them deciding that we're a problem.
Is that also your impression, Mr. Cooper?
Is this the group that was like on the poison planet?
No, this is the group that made you special chairs that fit your body because they scanned you.
The ones that essentially predict the future.
Yeah. I'd put him at a 6. You never know when they're gonna think that they know the future, and are going to decide that we're going to mess things up for their plan.
I see. But potential alliance there?
We have had very pleasant working interactions with them in which every party came away satisfied. So I don't see that that would be off the table.
I see. Dr. Haskins, any insight you could give medically to our understanding?
I don't think I was on those episodes.
Free to roll, let's say, reason and medicine with the biology, xenobiology applying.
Yeah.
It's going to be a difficulty of 3.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, what she's referring to, Haskins wasn't present for those away missions, so this would be going off of...
Yeah, but there were a lot of scans done on the ship. And
right, that's what I'm saying. It would have been like what I've studied after the mission,
correct,
like studying the away mission notes. Cool.
And also at one point you had one of them, or a few of them on the ship, on the Serenitis.
So I rolled a 5 and a 10, so that's a 3.
Fantastic. Oh yeah, that is a 3. Holy cow. So there's not a lot about them other than they're kind of small. Like, they're just not tall creatures. Or a tall species. That's the words I should be using for a sentient species. They're not a tall species, but they're kind of solid, because they had metal deposits in their body, like, naturally occurring.
Right. And I mean, from what we studied, like, as far as ground troops or an occupying force, it's not something we would view as this big threat.
No, they didn't have any military whatsoever. But they could probably take a shot like a Klingon still.
Okay. So I'll relay that back to...
Fantastic.
They seem to be far more interested in avoiding conflict and working to prevent it based upon what their scans have told them.
Let's see. The security chief kind of settles back into his chair and then pulls a pad kind of out from behind him, like he was sitting against it the whole time, and slides it across to you, Halada. These are transmissions we picked up from the Serenitis. There are 12 total. None of them can be accounted for in the official logs. And having looked at what was transmitted officially by the Serenitis, they aren't anywhere accounted for. So whoever did them has covered up their tracks.
What does he say?
They're encrypted, and it's not Federation encryption. But they are almost the entirety of the time that you and the rest of the new crew has been on the Serenitis.
Is it all outgoing, or is there any incoming?
They're all outgoing.
I am 99% sure that there is someone on our ship who is a double agent. I just don't have any clue who.
We've all dealt, well, I've dealt with Section 31 before. I would not feel that you're amiss in your duties if you didn't know you had an agent on board. That's honestly exactly what they do.
Yes.
But I feel that it is a security risk that your security chief should be made aware of, so that
he
can begin his look.
He is.
Also, while I think that the Tal Shiar are correct with whatever they told you about the Cardassians, I would not trust them too far. They're the Tal Shiar.
Definitely approaching with caution.
If you can unencrypt those, I would appreciate you sharing any information from them that you can. I understand that some of it may be outside my particular rank, and it may need to come through the Starfleet intelligence channels back to me but these are things we have detected coming from the Gamma Quadrant in to the Alpha Quadrant, and we have traced them to the Serenitis.
It's definitely important that we find out what's in this if we can. I've got some very, very bright minds I can set to it, so.
Can I get all three of you to give me a reason engineering? I know that's not anybody's good deal.
What's the difficulty?
It's going to be a 2.
Yeah.
Can I use my talent?
What's your talent?
I'm a doctor, not and I can use medicine.
Yeah, you know
in
what?
place
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
engineer.
Absolutely.
Great. What is our goal, or what is our?
It's a difficulty of 2. Remember, you also have bold, so if you were to buy a dice with threat.
But is it reason plus security?
Reason plus engineering.
Reason plus engineering.
So I'm gonna buy a dice.
With
Shockingly.
Or I guess not.
Shockingly, I got 2 successes.
I got 2 successes off of an 8.
I rolled 2 10s.
I got 2 successes.
Michael,
I'm in shock.
We don't necessarily need more threat. I'm not sure what I'm going to spend the threat I have on right now. But I will
Thank you
find
anyway,
something.
chat.
Yeah. Dustbuster Imp is suggesting that we might need more threat, and I don't necessarily. But I do like to see people use their talents, especially in tandem. Like, I'm not a doctor, I'm a
engineer.
And then using bold medicine instead. So, Haskins, did you get 2 successes?
I got 2 successes. I could buy another dice if we need the 3, because I can definitely roll under it.
Oh yeah, you do need the 3. Yeah, because you're not.
We're good with buying a dice?
Yeah.
Good. And that's the 3rd.
Fantastic. So you look real quick just kind of at the length of these, and assuming the encryption isn't so in-depth that it changes the length of the report, you would have to guess that these are relatively short written communications, maybe a paragraph or 2, but not a whole lot more than that. You can't figure out the encryption. That is well outside of what you're used to. However, you do recognize something in it, that it is using you see similarities to base codes of DNA from Federation species.
A wild thing to base encryption on. That's really cool.
Okay, I'm going to... I will tell Commander Halada this.
Like after. While you're sitting there in front of the other 3 people?
Nope, okay. After.
Cool.
We're going to play this card close to the chest, and I'm not going to give it away.
Fantastic. Well, Ro kind of stands up, unless one of the 3 of you has questions for us. Sorry, I'm laughing at the cat who's desperately needs love so bad. Just pawing Bill's face. Just
precious. Very, very precious. My mind is blanking. I can't come up with any questions to ask. Okay. I probably should ask questions, but ain't nothing coming.
That's okay. Well, it has been informative. We appreciate your time. I would say I apologize for getting you out of a meeting, but I also put you in a meeting, so I apologize for that too. If you need anything while you're on the station, please don't hesitate to come to Ops. I know this was not the most friendly of conversations, but you are our guests, and we're happy that you're here. The Serenitis is doing fantastic work, and we're happy to be hosting the 3 of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are. Do the 3 of you want to talk? Then I take it.
Well, once we get away from Ops, definitely. Maybe God. While we're on the turbo lift going to wherever we're headed next, I'll be like
meeting Commander, after meeting after meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Commander Halada, when they were showing us the data pad with the
Oh, you have the data pad.
Oh,
I still have
I
it?
have
Okay.
it.
I'm gonna start.
Because they want us to unencrypt it, so I have it.
I'm gonna point it out. I was like, these aren't long messages because this looks reminiscent of encryption like for medical records, and this is maybe a paragraph or two. But what was really weird is in the base code of the encryption, there's DNA of Federation species, like fragments of those DNA codes.
We will definitely pass that on when we pass it on to be unencrypted, because that will probably give them a nice head start. Good job.
The
Thank
two
you,
of you
Commander.
realize that this is probably one of the more difficult encryptions because you would have to have medical and engineering to be able to build something. So this is outside of like some basic encryption. This is a much heavier job.
Advanced.
I mean, it got foisted off on us by intelligence who couldn't unencrypt it, so I was
Right.
assuming it was kind of ridiculous.
So the three of you kind of go about the rest of your days for the day. We're going to change scenes. We'll lose a momentum for that. Put us down to 4.
Yay, get my talent back.
That evening, there is a large reception for the Admiral. Admiral Giovanni is also there, Lotta. He has not been in any of your meetings. He's been kind of giving you space. It's been pretty clear. But also, he's probably been busy himself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, if I don't have some things I have to be, I will definitely go say hi, because I don't want him to feel like he has to give me that space.
Sure. So you head over to Admiral Giovanni, speaking with a Klingon and another admiral, and then they kind of, as they see you approach, he kind of quickly wraps the conversation up, and they wander off. So as you approach, he's kind of by himself. He says, "Halada, it's good to see you."
Good to see you as well. It's been a minute.
It has. How is the Serenitis treating you?
Fairly well. It's a good crew.
Good. I know you're in an odd position where you're not captain, but you take on a lot of the captain role.
It's okay. It's nice to have the support structure while I learn all these people, and
So I take it you are quite happy out
at least on my end you froze up.
Oh, did I? Am I unfrozen?
You're moving for me.
Can you hear me, Amber?
Uh-oh.
Nope. All right.
Well, don't do this.
Hey, I'll tell you what. We're gonna, it's a little early, but we're gonna take a quick 10-minute break. While we kind of figure out this technical issue that popped up. We're not sure. Who knows? It's another mystery from Star Trek. Don't forget that you can follow and subscribe. The button's down below the pictures, or the video on the right-hand side. You can also subscribe for free with your Amazon Prime. Just connect that to Twitch and go ahead and get your subscription there. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back to continue the story. So don't go too far, and we'll see you guys in just a few. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Voyages of. Hey, before we get back into the story, real quick, no leaps and bounties, by leaps and bounties tomorrow. That has been that one of the cast members is going to be out, so we won't be running anything there. No Growing Shadows, but on Saturday we have Cinema 12, which is a B movie kind of RPG. It's on the D12 system. Should come out for that. I want to say it's 2 p.m. I'm going to get a voice in my ear here in a second that will confirm or deny that. It is correct, 2 p.m. Eastern, so like 11 a.m. Pacific, here on Rook and Rasp. So come out for that, and then this is the last episode, but you can still see me at least and Sean on Illuminated Page, where we are having a lot of fun, and there definitely was not a ghoul person in the catacombs under Paris. So come out for that on Sunday. That'll be Illuminated Page. I want to say it's episode 9. I don't know. I'm not positive on that, but it's been a good time.
Yeah.
Sean plays a locksmith.
I am a locksmith.
Okay.
I just have hobbies.
And I play definitely not a misunderstanding rich person.
Ooh.
I don't have any idea what a banana costs.
Like,
that's
what,
okay.
$500?
Yeah, like $500. I don't know. So definitely come out for those. And then by leaps and bounties, we'll be back next week. And then Growing Shadows will be on next week as well. So, yeah. So the Admiral says, "Are you? I take it you're enjoying your position on the Serenitis."
Yes, I am. It's interesting to have this weird step between being second in command and sometimes occasionally being in charge.
Okay. There has been some movement at Starfleet headquarters, and I have a position open within my staff. I know that you probably don't want to leave the Serenitis, but I'd feel like I missed the opportunity without at least asking if you wanted to join my staff, and I understand if you.
I very much appreciate the offer. That is something I would need to think on. I can't answer that right now.
Understandable. Mr. Cooper has been doing a great job from all of the reports I've seen, and I want to say that is a big part of your doing as well.
He is quite talented, but he is also, we've made a good team.
Yeah, that's excellent. He quiets down a little bit. He says, "Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on with Dr. Haskins and his mother?" I've read the reports, but I'd also like to hear kind of firsthand from his first officer.
I have a hard time blaming him for not wanting to see her. If I try to put myself in his shoes and imagine a parent just not being there and then all of a sudden showing up and being like, "I want to give you all of my attention and love," it sounds overwhelming.
Understood.
But I have been advising him that this is not going to go away, and offered my support in any way I can.
From your former commanding officer, those situations are always difficult to navigate. There are going to be emotions that Mr. Haskins is going, or Dr. Haskins is going to have to deal with as he progresses through this. However, there is potential good that could come from a happier House Strata within the Klingon Empire. It's just a matter of whether or not that's worth the headache that could come from that as well. It's been my experience that Klingons come with headaches. Doesn't matter what kind of Klingon they are.
Or how you respond to the situation.
Yeah, well, even your best friend, the Klingon, can give you a good headbutt, and there's your headache.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that he's going to have a headache out of this no matter what he decides to do. And that's basically what I've been telling him.
Well, it sounds like you're doing a job. You will give Captain Threx all my support and let him know that we're looking forward to more information out of the Gamma Quadrant from you.
Absolutely. And I'll get an answer to you on the other thing within a day or two. I just need to sit and think about it.
Absolutely. Commander Cooper, you so what are you doing at this party? How are you spending your time? Drinking Romulan ale, I assume.
Yeah, by the thimblefuls and being resuscitated in a bizarre demonstration of medical prowess.
I gave you the equivalent of an EpiPen just in case you wanted to indulge.
It's a space EpiPen. How are you spending the party?
Given that I'm probably exhausted and extroverted to the extreme, I'm probably trying to find a table, or not a corner, but like a quieter place where I'm not like clearly outside of the party, like sulking or anything, but like definitely not trying to be where all the energy is.
You don't want to be where the people are.
Yeah. But I don't want it to seem like I'm not being a good party, whatever. Yes.
You kind of position yourself kind of at the back of the room at a table that's not necessarily being used, and people don't approach and sit and talk to you, but nothing too heavy. Just I heard you met this species and it's very interesting, and tell me about that, and just interest in what you've been doing. Nothing, no reports or no real like deep conversations about them.
Heard you be talking to some Romulans.
Yeah. There are Romulans and Klingons at this party. It is the Admiral helped with the Treaty of Bajor, and the Klingons and Romulans were involved in that. You can all thank Quirky Little Fox, that's Monica, for buying some more threat. Hey, thank you, Monica. So you do notice that one of the Romulans kind of moves in your direction, but before he can get there, someone in a yellow uniform you don't recognize, Andorian, kind of intercepts him like politely, and then leads him off talking. And then a Vulcan kind of sits down next to you.
Good evening,
Cooper. I am Commander T'Pel.
Nice to meet you, Commander.
Nice to meet you.
Join the party.
I understand the need for celebration. I don't see this much celebration as needed, though. The Admiral's career has been satisfactory, but it is just a retirement. I know you humans live a very short life.
Well, not everything is for everyone, nor is it intended to be.
So
take from it what you can.
Mr. Cooper, what do you know of the Tal Shiar in the Gale Quadrant?
So the Andorian that intercepted the Romulan was wearing a yellow shirt.
Yep.
How is the Vulcan that I'm...
Solid question. He's also wearing a yellow shirt.
Which I would interpret as engineering and operations?
Or security/intelligence.
Security/intelligence, okay.
You can give me an insight command roll, but it's going to be pretty tough at a 4 to see if you know who he is. None of what you've got is going to apply.
I mean, I guess we can see. Maybe,
Can spend by dice, and
what are we at?
We're at 4 right now.
Sure, I'll buy one.
Sure.
2. Give yourself a fair shot.
All right.
So you're buying 2?
Yep.
All right, that'll put us down to 1 momentum.
All right. So I've already forgotten what you said it was.
Insight Command.
Insight Command. 14. Oh, no. 3 successes.
That is pretty close. You do not recognize the name T'Pel. His uniform doesn't really give you much more than he's of the operations division. You do recognize the Andorian as a member of Starfleet Intelligence that you have seen a roster on your prior assignment during the war. Not that he ever came in, but it was part of someone else's background and information, and so you've seen his face before. You don't recall a name though.
So the question asked of me was, what do I know of the Tal Shiar?
Yeah, in the Gamma Quadrant specifically.
Oh, in the Gamma Quadrant specifically. Well, I presume that wherever the Romulans are, the Tal Shiar are.
That's an astute observation. Do you know anything more than that?
So player me doesn't know how I would vet that this guy's, like, not just anybody.
Sure. It's a tough one because he hasn't given you anything other than his name and rank.
Are we talking business? Was he his commander?
Commander, yeah. I believe that we are always talking business while in uniform, correct?
Well, I've certainly had some informal conversations while still in uniform when granted the privilege, Commander.
It's unfortunate that your starship is so lax.
I can see your perspective on that. Have you given me an order, Commander?
I am not. Though if I need to, it won't come from me. It will come from an admiral. I don't wish to get into classified information. I want to hear if you're aware of Tal Shiar in the Gamma Quadrant.
So why are you asking me, the non-intelligence officer, and not the command structure of my ship?
I was given a report that at a meeting on the Serenitis, where you hosted Klingons and Romulans, you were approached by a Romulan and then found yourself incapacitated briefly. And that there are reports, rumors even, that you were contacted outside of that party, again, by another Romulan.
You're asking me if that was Tal Shiar activity?
That is a good question. Was that Tal Shiar activity?
Yes.
Fantastic. Do you know of any other activity going on in the Gamma Quadrant that would need to be of concern to Starfleet intelligence? I'm not asking for a report. I'm asking for a feeling. I believe you humans rely on them.
I just want, before I respond, make sure that I, player, remember. Like, I felt that we did directly tell.
Oh yeah,
Starfleet.
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
The thing with Starfleet is keep in mind is it's a giant bureaucracy. Not everything gets disseminated, and sometimes people will just approach you when they see you and ask questions, and it's up to kind of the officer's judgment. In most cases, though, you would have been given more information about who he is. All he has given you is rank and name, and you haven't even been verify that.
Of concern? I'm not concerned. I don't.
So you're unconcerned about the Tal Shiar activities within the game?
Based off of the information that I know there's not anything that would lead me to be holding them in any higher concern than I would at any point in time while I'm in uniform, sir.
Excellent. Perhaps in the future, when dealing with the Tal Shiar, you should imagine the brightest Vulcan. And then I believe the human phrase is, give him a pinch of ruthlessness and a barrel full of potential murder.
I can understand your perspective, Commander.
Our cousins, as I'm told they are not to be trusted, Commander.
Well, I would imagine that you're in the business of not trusting people.
Facts often tell me that I shouldn't. Ooh.
Is there anything else, Commander?
Thank you, Amir Nugget, for the... No, sir. I believe that you have answered all of my questions. You've answered them. He stands up in, like, very rigid Vulcan fashion and kind of, like, walks away. Keed. Keed, are you drinking like synthahol, or are you drinking actual alcohol?
Drinking actual alcohol, but not out of control.
Okay.
I'm not drinking to get drunk.
But you're obviously ordering non-synthahol.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Actually, I ordered blood wine.
Oh, okay. That's even better. Thank you. Just give me that inroad. I want to take it. You've been at the party. You watched Commander Halada kind of chat with one of the admirals. You watched a Vulcan off talking with Commander Cooper. That you could feel the tension across the room. It was a little weird. Two Klingons. You don't recognize either one of them, and they are not wearing house insignia. Come up with full blood wine mugs, I guess? Tankards, that's the word I'm looking for. One of them strikes you kind of on the chest near the shoulder, but not in an aggressive attacking way, more of a weird Klingon, greeting ritual way.
Yeah, it's Klingon bro hug.
Yeah. It says, You, Starfleet, you are a doctor? That's what this blue means?
Yeah, I'm a doctor.
Do doctors drink?
Look at my mug, or my tankard, and it's like, if it's high quality, yeah.
Excellent. So he raises his mug and he says, to the Alliance for the Federation and the Klingon Empire. And his buddy raises his as well, and they kind of wait for you.
Clank mugs with them.
And they both down them completely.
Oh, it's going to be one of those nights. I take a large swallow, but I'm not draining it because I'm not dumb.
Can I get an insight security from you? Difficulty's going to be 2. We're going to say hand-to-hand combat apply.
Okay, cool.
I mean, when doesn't hand-to-hand combat apply? That's right.
One success.
Okay. You hear the gentleman that came up to you and spoke to you scream, "More blood wine!" And I'm sorry, you're in Quarks. I should have mentioned this. I should have set the stage, and I didn't. That's my mistake. You're in Quarks.
I'm so happy.
One of the mini Ferengi bartender waiters comes over with 3 more tankards. And have you drank all of yours?
There's dregs. I didn't down it, so I'll take a fresh one.
That's good enough, yeah. And then he scurries off. He says, "So, Federation, what house do you come from?"
House Haskins.
That's not a Klingon house.
No, it's my father's house.
That's an answer. I like that answer. That's a real good answer. Can you give me a daring command roll?
Oh, wow. I gotta focus on this.
None of your stuff is going to apply.
No, that's fine.
It's going to be a difficulty of 2.
2? Oh, where's the good dice? Come on, good dice. I'm gonna pull this off. Alright, daring and command, so that's 13. Oh, 1 success.
He smiles that big toothy Klingon smile. And then he raises his mug and he says, "To House Haskins." And his friend raises his as well.
To your houses as well. Whatever they may be.
You clink and they down them. Surprising no one.
No, surprising no one. I'm gonna drink maybe a quarter of what's in the mug. Or the tankard.
Okay. When you bring it back down and it's clear you've not drunk enough, or not drank all, the Klingon that was talking to you looks at you and taps the bottom of your tankard. I thought you were a Klingon.
I am.
Then drink.
I already told you. I only drink quality. Do you think what we're getting in this bar from a Ferengi is quality blood wine?
His buddy like slaps him on the back and chuckles, and he nods his head and gives that big toothy smile again. Says, "All right, then, Ferengi, bring out my cask." The Ferengi, like 3 Ferengi, lift this cask of blood wine up, and they dip into it because you don't pour Klingon blood wine. You dunk your nasty hand, covered and the tankard covered in your own slobber, deep into the barrel. And he brings over the waiter brings over 3 more, and he takes away the one you want to partially drink, unless you absolutely stop him.
No, I challenged it, so push my sleeve of my uniform up a little bit and dip into it.
This is House Kanja blood wine. Can you give me insight? Let's say insight command. Difficulty's going to be a 2.
2?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been rolling really good tonight.
What about the other 2? Don't tell me your successes or not. Just hold on for a second.
Okay.
Halada and Cooper, are you 2 just kind of hanging out in the party? And if Cooper, you're kind of across the room. Do you engage? Once you see what's going on, do you engage anything?
I kind of keep an eye in that direction to see if I potentially catch Dr. Haskins' eye. If he were to, like, kind of do like the hate,
Sure.
whatever thing. But as long as he doesn't seem to be agitated or, doing anything besides what he seems to be choosing to do, then no, I'm not going to intervene.
Move closer in case it turns to fighting.
Can you give me an insight command roll? Galactic Politics is gonna... I'm sorry, you're assisting here. So just roll 1, but Galactic Politics does apply.
You said insight command?
Yeah.
That's 2 successes.
Okay. So what'd you get, Keith?
I got a failure and a complication.
Oh, that fantastic. Halada, you hear House Kanja. House Kanja and House Strata are at odds, would be a nice way of saying it. There is a feud. And if they have House Kanja blood wine and they just offered it to him, not only if he drinks it is it insulting his own mother, which, Keith might be into, but it also could cause a problem if they are associated with House Kanja and they know who he is.
Can I think of any way to give him a heads up on that?
I mean, you could walk over and be like, "Oh, House Kanja, isn't that the house that hates House Strata?"
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. That
Yep.
sounds awesome.
So they kind of raise their mug or their tankards, and as you start to kind of mimic their movements, Keed, you hear a lot of say, "Well, House Conch, isn't that the house that hates House Strata?"
I'm just gonna talk, and I'm gonna look him right in the eye. I'm gonna pour it onto the floor of Quarks and said, "I told you I only drink quality."
Ooh, okay, all right.
And then if I'm gonna escalate this, how close is he to me?
He's within stabbing distance.
No,
I mean,
I'm gonna
that's where
headbutt him.
Klingons stand.
I'm gonna headbutt him.
Nice.
I'm tired of this Klingon BS. So I'm just gonna headbutt him.
I'm gonna say that's obviously a fitness security.
Okay. Hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, absolutely, that applies. Do you want to buy any dice?
Please buy dice.
Can I buy a dice? Because I'd like to successfully headbutt this.
Yeah, you can definitely buy a dice. I assume with momentum, right?
Yeah, because medical definitely doesn't apply to this.
Yeah, that'll drop down to 1.
Let's see, that's 3. Not a critical, but that is 3 successes.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your unarmed strike of 2.
2? So that's
2
two
dice.
2 dice. It's a 1 and a 6.
So that's going to be 2 successes. Do you want to apply knockdown?
Yeah.
I figured you would.
Yeah.
That's 2 successes plus the extra success from getting more successes than you... Or that's 2 hits plus 1 for the extra success more than you needed. Or 2. It's 2. So he'll take 4. Not a lot, but you hit him. You headbutt him. He is clearly not at all prepared for that. Thank you, Amir Nugget. That'll put us at 4 momentum.
Sweet.
Chat.
Swung that back up.
Thank you.
You hit him like hard in the head. He drops, and that's when you see a Klingon house knife of Kanja kind of fly out of his hand, and the other Klingon has one in his hand as well, but is quickly stunned with phasers by security.
The one on the ground is he's not unconscious, right?
No, he is not terribly worse for the wear, but you did knock him down. Security has already come over and like surrounded you guys with phasers.
I'm gonna growl at him in Klingon. Do you think I'm unprepared for the House Wars? Do you think that because I'm half Klingon and Federation that I'm not gonna be able to handle you?
Your mother is weak. Your father's only a human. What else could they have made?
And look who's sitting on the floor in a puddle of blood wine.
Man, you got some good lines tonight. Like legit, like those are some solid lines.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Starfleet security like pulls them up off the ground. You see, what's his name? Where'd it go? There, Black Mirror. Kind of come over and direct them, and then he comes over and says, "Doctor, you seem okay."
Annoyed, but fine. They unfortunately are trying to start problems with House Strata, and apparently I'm being pulled into it, and unfortunately the Federation too, it seems like.
Well, I would ask that perhaps we don't resort to fisticuffs on the station, but also I feel like you may have had reason to, given the house dagger. And when he goes to pick it up, it is clearly the house symbol for what did I say? Sorry, Kanja.
Kanja. This is the Admiral that's talking to me?
No, this is the Chief of Security.
Chief of Security. All right. I appreciate that. I will make sure that, no more fighting in the middle of Quarks will happen.
Good, Dr. Haskins, because it would be a shame if I had to clean up more Klingons off. Let's be honest. Gonna have some paperwork now, and
Nobody likes doing that.
Nobody likes paperwork.
If you need my deposition or a report, I'll be happy to give it to you whenever you need it.
Oh, David, Odo has gone back to join the Great Link to teach the Dominion and the Changelings how to be better people. That's where Odo's at.
Ah.
Well, not better people, just teach them to be people.
Yeah, teach them to not be complete shits.
Other life forms matter.
Yes.
As soon as the chief of security walks away, I'm going to look at Commander Halada and I'm going to be like, first, thank you for the warning. Second, I apologize for the reaction, but I've got to make some kind of statement with the Klingons so that they're not constantly hassling us.
It is my understanding that Klingon politics are impossible without some violence, so I think you showed remarkable restraint.
Thank you.
You kind of like get the bearing on the party, and you see Captain Gravov raise a glass of what you have to assume like Andorian ale towards you, and just nod a little before he
I'll
takes
get a fresh cup of something, definitely not what's on the bar, and raise my glass to him as well.
No, the Ferengi quickly took it down off the guy that brought it got the crap out of him. So, fantastic. So yeah, you the party goes pretty well. There's a speech by the Admiral towards the end, and everybody seems to be having a decent time. You have 2 more days of meetings. Super fun. But these are meetings you guys are leading now, giving kind of talks about the Gamma Quadrant and like the ins and outs. Keed, you give a few medical people some some walkthroughs of what's going on. Definitely
would chronicle the I drew a blank.
Oh yeah.
The one that Roxy did where we all went kind of crazy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that would definitely be the highlight of my part of that meeting, like the most, this is what you have to look for.
Yeah.
The naked now follow-up thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Bashir attends that and takes notes and listens, and after you're done, he comes up and thanks you for your talk. Found it very informative.
That's a high compliment, Dr. Bashir. Actually, I've studied quite a bit of your work with frontier medicine, and it's been most useful exploring the Gamma Quadrant.
I can imagine. There's a lot that we've done here that the Gamma Quadrant can only benefit from that knowledge. I'm glad that you're out there.
Thank you.
Cooper, you give some talks about the first contacts you've given or you've had, kind of how they went, what you've picked up on from different places.
I'd also like to have some talks about counseling and support of crew. Distances in the Gamma Quadrant.
Yeah. Solid idea. Yeah, those go over quite well. And then Esri probably attends that as well because she's still on the station. That's who's left. We get Nog, Esri, and Bashir. So 2 good characters. And Esri. Yeah, the rest of the next day goes fine. On the morning of the last day that you're going to be there, you'll ship out late tonight. Captain Gravov finds you guys at breakfast again.
Heads up.
This time he's not even carrying a breakfast. He just has a cup of Earth coffee. And he approaches the table and he says, Commanders, gotta stop meeting like this. Can I join you?
Of course.
Have a seat.
He sits down. He says, I appreciate what happened yesterday, or the other day at the Admiral's going away, or retirement party. It's always interesting to see politics play out. However, Ambassador Worf has officially requested that the Serenitis dispatch you within the next 3 months to Kronos. Not for a long time, but for at least a couple of days.
It's a long trip just for a couple of days.
The ambassador believes that you were targeted for assassination. So whether you wish to be in house politics or not, you are there.
The ambassador is worried about assassination, so he wants me to go to Kronos, where it's going to be even easier to attempt that?
It's easy to assassinate you as another house and get away with it when you're not fully aligned with your mother.
I'm also pretty safe on the Serenitis unless they want to send birds of prey to destroy it, which they're welcome to try. I think they're going to come on the Lusian end of that.
But we also don't want things to escalate that far.
It's the ambassador's official request. It doesn't have to be just within the next 3 months, please.
I'll take it under consideration.
Commander Halana, I hope that you will help Dr. Haskins understand that that's an order.
This is, yeah, absolutely.
I understand his hesitation. Don't blame him at all.
Is this before you leave, Captain? So is this an order from the Federation as well?
This is an order from the ambassador through the diplomatic. So the admiral, Matt's not going to come up with a name. The admiral over the diplomatic corps officially gives the order.
Understood. I thought this headache wouldn't get any worse.
Then you went and headbutted somebody.
We'll talk to the captain when we get back and see if there's a way to spare both of us so you don't have to go alone.
I would also suggest, perhaps, I hear that your chief of security is overly prepared, I think is a nice way of saying maybe a little paranoid.
That is an excellent way of saying that, yes.
But I believe that he may be an asset in such a trip.
Yes,
So
he
keep
absolutely
that in
would.
mind as well. I know that a ship like the Serenite is losing its chief medical officer any amount of time is something to consider. So whatever Captain Threx believes is appropriate, we will respect that.
We will make it happen, one way or another.
On a personal note, Keith, good show.
Thank you, sir.
It was, you handled that about as Klingon as you possibly could.
I might have been raised by my father, but I'm not exactly ashamed of my Klingon heritage, unlike some other members of my family are.
You do have a bit of your mother in you. I hope you understand that.
I will take that for the compliment that you attended it, Captain.
So, I appreciate the time that we've spent together. I wish it were under different circumstances.
I do as well.
He kind of stands up, takes his cup of coffee, and skedaddles away.
I'm gonna look. I'm trying to find something I forgot. I'm drawing a blank on our security officer's name. Chief of Security.
Rosrin?
Rosrin. Thank you. I knew it was an R. I would look at Commander Halana and I was like, Rosrin would be an asset, but every away mission I've been with her on, I've gotten shot.
Him.
Well, dang, sorry.
If we bring Minkler, he tends to be the target.
No, I think it would be a comfort to have Rosrin with us because he is going to definitely be prepared for
anything
just
and
about
everything
anything.
you can think of. And he has quite the imagination.
That's true.
He'll keep you alive.
No, I'm not overly worried of being killed because if my mother's so desperately trying to get me to Kronos, she's definitely got a plan that she won't be able to enact it if I'm dead, so.
I'm not necessarily saying that she's the one that will try to kill you. You've already had one other house come after you.
It means that he would be more formally under her protection, though. Which has its ups and downs. Yeah, which has its ups and downs. But
definitely does it that.
That is a whole mess, but we will figure it out. You're not in this alone.
I appreciate that.
the three of you have not had a chance to really talk since the party. Does the commander, does Cooper want to disseminate anything?
Did the captain leave? I think, yeah.
Yeah, he's going.
Okay. I'll kind of look around. Do I see anybody in yellow?
No. It's a lot of Bajorans and civilians that are eating breakfast, but they've kind of given you guys some space. You're off a little by yourselves.
I'm beginning to have concerns about our intelligence agency. They seem to keep asking me things that I would think that they already should know.
Bureaucracy being what it is, they probably have layers upon layers upon layers of who and what knows what. And I would really love it if they would just give us a clear talk to these people. But I don't think they trust themselves, honestly.
No, of course not.
And I may be hanging around Lieutenant Rosman too much, but are we sure that that was Federation? Could that have been a Tal Shiar agent trying to fish for information?
There's the paranoia.
Yeah, we should probably do our best, and I know I'm not very good at this, to assume everyone's out to get something they shouldn't have.
I played it pretty tight to the vest while not trying to openly defy anything that would seem to come from a superior officer, what I assume was a relatively high level of security to get in event.
I'm assuming that you followed up and tried to figure out who that was with computer systems later.
Yeah.
Give me reason. Oof.
Yeah.
Reason security.
Oh no.
Yikes. It's going to be a difficulty of 2. We've got
dice.
4.
Yeah,
momentum, and we've got 8 threat. If you want to add some more threat.
You already said you don't need it. Maybe what I should do is buy 1 die off momentum and a 2nd die off a threat.
So weirdly enough, the rules actually say that you buy 1 for 1, 2 for 2, no matter what kind. So it still stacks.
But I have to give you 2 threat.
Yeah, give me.
You're not going to use.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. Give me 3 threat. I don't care. I'll find a way to use it. The Borg show up.
Oh God. No.
Even with 4 dice.
No.
1 success.
Yikes.
I got a 9, but my reason and security is an 8.
You comb through what you can of Starfleet intelligence, and you don't find a T'Pel. You do find the Andorian, and he is he's an ensign, and according to his jacket, he's been an ensign for 65 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was Tal Shiar?
No, 31, I think.
And he has been a little bit of everywhere. He has multiple names. And it does include listing him with multiple. So Andorians have 2 male sexes and 2 male genders and 2 female genders. It lists him as both male genders in different names.
Oh. I wasn't able to confirm any of them, but I don't know that all of our intelligence operatives are even in the open to ourselves, so they could have been real Starfleet intelligence for all I know. But I really didn't give him anything more that he didn't already have.
Well, all we can do is keep doing our best and hope that they eventually respond to our requests for more clarity with actual clarity. Until then, really, none of us are trained for this. Do your best.
as you're kind of finishing up your little talk, Admiral Giovanni steps, or like kind of walks by, sees the three of you, and walks up to the table. He says, I apologize, I'm probably interrupting.
It's a good point in the conversation. What can I help you with?
Excellent. He just sits, he doesn't ask. He says, Commander Cooper, by the reports I've read, you have found yourself in quite a bit of espionage-related situations. Does that sound fair?
Perhaps a bit of an understatement, sir.
I would like to send a couple of officers out to walk you through some basics. What do you think?
I would hope it couldn't hurt, sir. Or I'm sure that if it does hurt, that I'll soldier through.
Excellent. So I'm going to send out a couple of lieutenants. I know that you outrank them a great deal. These are who we have training some of the early recruits in Starfleet intelligence. They're going to give you the basics. They'll walk you through it. They're not going to teach you everything. And frankly, there's a lot to teach. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Andoria still maintains an intelligence agency. So does Bolia, although theirs looks very different. So do several other members of the Federation. I know the Bajorans say they don't, but I'm pretty sure they do. And I don't blame them for not telling us, honestly. They're far too close to this wormhole to be unprepared. So they're going to cover what they can. I think that your focus may need to be in the Tal Shiar. Is that a fair assessment?
And also how to properly interact with our own intelligence.
Avoid them, I guess. I think that's my best bet.
I would love it if we could pull that off.
So, Commander, you were approached by a Commander T'Pel, is that correct?
That's the name the Vulcan gave, sir.
That was not a Vulcan. That is a human using the name T'Pel. He has been surgically altered. He is a member of Starfleet Intelligence. I know that he probably asked questions and was very besmirching of your humanness. Does that seem correct?
Yes. I've been a little on edge, sir.
It's understandable. It's, I would guess that you probably spoke with Commander Rowe as well, Chief of Security, who is also in Starfleet. There were a lot of people that really wanted to speak to you this week.
More than I imagined. Though on the topics I did imagine.
I apologize that we've kept certain bits of information back for fear that they could cause widespread panic. I believe that he kind of looks around a little bit. He says, I believe, and he lowers his voice. He says, I believe a member of the Tal Shiar approached you about actions of Section 31.
Yes, he gave us information.
I would say that the Tal Shiar is not trustworthy. However, I don't believe that information is untrue. I feel like they gave you the best information they had.
As little as I would like to trust them, it does feel like they're trying to give us good information to start off on the right foot.
I think that they are trying to garner support should something happen in the Gamma Quadrant. Their fleets have not bounced back like ours have.
They were actually
the Gamma Quadrant
upfront
is
about
not
that.
a priority for them like ours, like it is for us. And if that's how they're going to garner some goodwill, I'll take it.
Yeah.
As long as it's accurate, or as accurate as it can be.
Mm-hmm. And they were actually surprisingly upfront about that being their goal.
Yes, right.
The new Tal Shiar has changed some. They have a lot less resources than they did before they joined the Obsidian Order in their failed attempt to destroy the Changelings.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to get what they can where they can. And the Serenitis is going to be a hotbed for this kind of activity for a very long time until there's a space station, and then that space station will be a hotbed for them.
So we need to learn to get good at it, or at least competent.
I would say that your bartender, Serenitis, Mr. Goth,
Hmm.
I would trust him with my life.
Excellent, because asking him for reads on people has become a practice.
He's not the typical Orion, and were there a fight to break out, Dr. Haskins, I apologize, but I would choose him first. He is formidable. If
Right,
It's good to hear that I made a good judgment call there, at least.
yes, you continue to do so. If there's something that I can do for you with please let me know. If there's something that needs clarification that Captain Threx or one of you need, please let me know. I would be happy to help. But given the situation with House Strata and the near assassination from House Kanja yesterday, I fear that I have to rescind my offer to you.
Completely understandable. I was going to decline anyway. This is not a good time for me to leave my crew.
No, I need you with Mr. Haskins and Mr. Cooper. I'm sorry, Dr. Haskins. Spent 6 months in medical school to be called Mr.
No.
Dr. Haskins and Mr. Cooper, they are both going to need more assistance and support.
Absolutely.
Are we sitting at the table with them still?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
As soon as Halada said that now's a bad time to leave, I'm just like raising the eyebrow at her, like, what?
He had offered me a job.
My staff has an opening, and Halada worked very well with me before she was promoted.
It was.
I don't blame you for trying that.
It was definitely something I wanted to think about, but part of that thinking about was there is a lot going on.
There is.
And it's escalating instead of decreasing, so definitely not the time to do this.
Well, the Serenitis and Captain Threx, their boon, perhaps my loss, but I'm sure I'll find another officer who will be adequate.
And you'll train them up.
Yeah, that's always the worst part. Are there any questions that the three of you, you've had a very long weekend? Is there anything the three of you have questions about or concerns?
Are we going to get the vacation after this? Because, man, I could really use one. I feel like I've been through the ringer.
I could check your leave, but officially, whatever that says, I'm not. Listen, you'd have to talk to HR.
Honestly, if they're going to send me on a vacation, if Starfleet's going to let me have, I don't know how to talk. If Starfleet is going to send me on a vacation, I'm afraid it would be Kronos, and that's not exactly the vacation I'm looking for.
You should just have it rise on both ways.
Ooh.
That is definitely not a vacation because you have been told to do that.
I could send you on mission to Ryza.
That would definitely be nice.
Beyond that, is there anything?
We've got a mess of problems to solve. You know, I'm pretty sure all of them. Any insight you can send our way is wonderful, but we've just got to put our heads down and work.
I'm hoping that the Cardassians will settle now that you have ended their assistance with Quadrant. Even if it's just to a dull roar, that would be helpful.
Yes, it would.
I am concerned that the Dominion has been this quiet this long.
Yeah. There's a lot to be concerned about, but I let Rosrin imagine worst case scenarios, and then try to reel him in when it's necessary, but it hasn't been necessary often enough.
I would say you have a good crew, and relying on them for their specialties. Rosrin may be extra prepared.
It's been
But-
appropriate to the situation so far, so
Yeah, he hasn't been that off or
Yeah.
that wrong. At least not when the actions. Maybe in the formulation of the theory. But, you've got a good crew. You've got a solid. They're a little ragtag here and there. Solid crew.
and only getting better as they learn to work together. So
Exactly. Commanders, if there's nothing else, I'll leave you to your day of ever so fun meetings, and then have a safe trip back through the wormhole.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Of course. He stands up, walks away. The morning kind of goes by without much more going on. Like, you guys go to meetings, they're all relaxed. There's some of the officers have already left, so they're a little sparse in attendance. You do, Keed, you did get notified by the chief of security of the station that the 2 Klingons are not being brought up on charges because the knife could have been seen as a reaction to your insult. Nothing you did wrong, but they will be removed from the station and so yeah, you guys kind of go through all of that. Can I let's see.
Say, like, as an aside, Star Trek's vision of the future is very hopeful, except for all the bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy is life.
Everyone
so
hates meetings. Why do we have so many of them?
So the 3 of you end up going through stuff, get back on the runabout. You make it back through the wormhole. Claudia, can I get you to give me a control command? And then the other 2 of you, can I get reason and medicine? Difficulty is going to be a total of 6. I just need 6 total from the 3 of you.
Will any of my focuses apply to the roll?
That's a good point. Xenobiology applies.
Okay.
Cooper does. Nothing really applies. A lot of your value puzzle solver does apply. If you
I got
want
3
to use-
successes.
Well, geez, never mind.
I also got 3 successes because I rolled a 1.
And Halada, you can just nap over there.
Well, I also got 3 successes, so
Wow. Okay, so that'll put us at max. We're gonna cap that out. Holy crap. The 3 of you, you've got several hours in this runabout. The 3 of you start kind of trying to parse over the encryption.
Ooh.
You start on Cooper and Haskins. You start on the medical end and start looking through that. Halada, you look at it as a puzzle. Like, it's literally a thing. You're not good at encryption, but you're good at puzzles, and that's exactly what this is. Between the 3 of you working kind of in tandem, you don't get any part of it decrypted, but you recognize timestamps of when things were sent. And they correspond with several events, specifically the Cardassians, every time you interacted with them, and every time the Tal Shiar were on the ship. There are others beyond that, but there are some of them correspond to those times.
so we can assume that at least those things are being reported.
Or at least something about them is being. The 3 of you really do get to a point where not much else you can do. It's gonna literally be handed to the engineer and see if the engineer can get through it.
See if you can figure out which word is Tal Shiar and go from there.
Yeah.
Right. You guys, you come out of the wormhole. You're probably a couple of hours back to the ship. You get a hail from the binary, just that they're nearby and it's an official, like, it's just a normal check-in, make sure everything's good, and you respond to it. And you get back to the Serenitis, and almost immediately, like, you get back on the Serenitis, land the shuttle or the runabout, and almost immediately you're kind of summoned to Threx's study, his ready room, not his ready room, his office, whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm done trying for words today. I assume all three of you head directly there.
Of course.
Yeah.
He when you come in, he's sitting behind the desk. He looks up from his little computer and kind of slides it to the side. He says, "So, let's do a little bit of what happened and what's going on. I have a note from Admiral Giovanni that you have things that need to be discussed, but it's non-specific."
Where to start? Intelligence officers attempted to grill us in every possible way and every possible combination. So that was fun.
I'm getting pulled into my mother's house wars on Kronos. That's been interesting.
So we have to figure out how to dispatch him there for a couple of days. I would like to formally request we find a way for me to go with him and to bring Rosrin if we can, because...
That's done and done. That's
excellent.
Not a problem. Might also be good to take Chevron. He is...
Yes.
I know that he has some limitations now, but he's still probably one of the better prepared for combat on the ship.
Sure. I trust Chevron with my life for certain. What? So many things happened. What am I missing?
You might want to tell him about the encryption.
Yes, and we have a puzzle for our engineers. Here.
I assume you hand it over. He takes a look over it and he says, "This is a lot. You have a lot of notes, which I'm sure will be very helpful to Anbara, but these dates, what do they correspond to?"
Talshiar being on the ship, us interacting with the True-Way. Some other things, but I haven't seen a pattern in anything else.
Mr. Cooper, do you think that this verifies that we have someone on the ship with Section 31?
Sincerely, the data would seem to point that way.
instead of trying to back away from answering directly. I also did get a heads up from Admiral Giovanni that we can trust. I've forgotten his name already. I'm so bad at names.
Doxy Goth.
That we can trust Doxy Goth with pretty much anything.
That was my impression as well. That's why he's on the ship.
Yes.
He's not just a bartender. He's
no.
He's a steady hand. Tell me about your house, your mother's house, Mr. Haskins.
I mean, other than what the Federation already knows, I'm not especially well versed in her house. You have to remember, Captain, I grew up on a Federation science outpost, and then from there went to Earth and the Academy.
You should spend some time with Charlie. He can catch you up on some of that.
All right.
No, go ahead, please.
I mean, other than she's power hungry, I mean, it's unheard of for a woman to be head of a house, and now she is. I can only imagine the scheming and everything that she did to get there, and she's not going to be willing to lose it, so I can't even imagine why she wants me involved at all. Ambassador Worf has extended the invitation. He thinks that my presence there would help soothe diplomatic relations between the Federation and the Klingon homeworld, and I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I mean, I will do what it takes for the Federation to stay allies with the Klingons without it being super rocky. I mean, I couldn't live with myself if she decided to throw a monkey wrench into that.
I have a note here from Admiral Giovanni that the knives recovered were real. Can you explain what that note pertains to?
So, House, remind me, Matt?
Kanja?
God, thank you. You think I'd remember that? House Kanja.
Listen, I said it and I forgot it like twice, so.
Members of House Kanja that are... There's a family feud between Strata and Kanja. Were trying to maneuver me into drinking blood wine from their house, which would have been a huge dishonor to my mother's house. And fortunately...
Give me a reason command roll.
Okay.
Difficulty's going to be 2.
We're full up on that, right?
Yeah, you got plenty.
Yeah, buy some dice. Go for it.
Ooh, that's a 1.
Okay,
Yay.
well, there you go.
That is a 7, so that's 3 successes, and then I rolled a 16, which is not... Command and what?
Or reason.
Command and reason? Yeah, that's 3 successes.
Okay, so this puts us back at cap. They were not of the house. They were hired assassins.
Because they weren't wearing the house colors.
They were specifically
badges
not
or
wearing the
whatever.
house colors. Yeah.
But they had house knives, though.
Yeah, house knives can be used to make a point on who's murdering you.
Right. So it was a maneuver to...
Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely not what I was expecting. I maybe would have handled that a little bit differently if I had known they were assassins.
Well, and it didn't occur to you until now. That's why you remember when you failed that roll earlier?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the captain was telling me they were assassins.
No, you just clicked.
Gotcha.
That, they didn't have the house symbols. They were not of the house. They were hired by the house, for sure.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. It wasn't someone that was trying to maneuver an open warfare between Strata and Kanji. It was Kanji hired assassins. Got you.
Yeah.
I was going in a way different paranoia. Yeah, Captain, I just realized that they were probably assassins. They weren't wearing house colors or house insignias. Probably would have been safe drinking the blood wine. It probably wasn't Kanji blood wine, but they were trying to maneuver me. I thought they were trying to maneuver me into making bigger problems for my mother's house. I took care of it in the Klingon way, and I guess I avoided being killed.
Well, I used to think that Federation politics were difficult, and then I spent about 6 months on Kronos as an assistant, and they make us look simple. Everything's above board, and when somebody says that they're honorable, they mean it. And I've found, and no offense, Mr. Haskins, or Dr. Haskins, but when Klingons say they're honorable, that usually means they're about to do something dishonorable.
It's been my experience as well.
Now, I wouldn't assign that to perhaps Martok or Ambassador Worf, but most others.
But you're right, Captain, because Worf and Martog aren't going. You've dishonored me, and I mean, they just their word. I mean, they follow up their action.
I would. We can find time to send you to the home world. There's a lot going on there I'm concerned about. We'll figure out what that looks like in the long run.
I appreciate that. I can't say that I'm looking forward to it, but I appreciate the support of the Federation and yourself, Captain, and especially Commander Halada for volunteering to go.
Of course.
And if Giovanni's note was that vague, I should also warn him about the incoming lieutenants to train us in, I guess, counterintelligence?
The Giovanni, or the Admiral did say that he was sending a package. He likes to keep his notes very obtuse sometimes.
I really don't blame him in this situation.
I think he's more involved with Starfleet intelligence than he officially is. But Mr. Cooper, I assume you feel like you would benefit from such training?
Immensely, sir.
Excellent. As of right now, officially, any contact with the Tal Shiar, you have my utmost support and trust to handle that as you see fit. I agree with the Admiral's assessment that he has already sent to me. They're not to be trusted, but their intent is true. They mean to curry favor to protect us later, or to protect them later.
Noted, sir. I will act accordingly.
There is a hail from the bridge. You hear you hear Garahar say, "Captain, we have an emergency signal coming in." Says, "Well, by all means, let's see what this is." And he stands up and walks out. I assume the three of you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. So there is a hail, and on the screen is an emergency broadcast. That should be popping up any second.
This is Captain Rex telling the Serenitis. Serenitis, are you there? It's Captain Rex to the Serenitis. Serenitis, if you can hear me, this is Captain Rex. I'm under attack by a Cardassian vessel. Just trying to get to you, but I've taken heavy damage. I have to make an emergency landing. Sending my coordinates over a secure frequency. Captain Rex, if you can hear me, I need your help.
You hear Garhar say, Captain, there were no coordinates. I can trace the signal, but that overlay seems to have been Cardassian trying to intercept the code. I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to find the ship. And Threx looks over at you, looks over at Halada and says, "Well, Commander, I think we have some work ahead. Let's get the lieutenant and let's start it on figuring out what happened to Captain Rex."
Absolutely.
All right, so that's actually going to do it for us tonight. I know I've been in a little early. We're going to talk here. So obviously, hey, in true Star Trek fashion, welcome to a cliffhanger. You've got 3 months. So, hang out for that. We will be back in July. I'm not positive on the exact date. I need to look at the calendar, figure out what that was. A big thank you to David, the Far Lane, for putting that together. Or well, for shooting the footage, and then for John, who does our back end and is a mysterious voice in my ear sometimes, for doing all the overlay work and the special effects, which I maintain are better than some of the original series special effects.
It wasn't a paper plate stapled to someone's forehead.
Or some random foam noodles.
They didn't throw a spear and then watch the rock explode in foam. We are actually going to be doing a couple of things between season 1 and season 2. Everybody's gonna gain a new focus. And be able to redistribute attributes and disciplines to better fit their roles. Because I think some of us are a little less perfected for what they're doing. But this also gives Cooper a chance to pick up some espionage as a focus. And all the other players will be able to do the same. So I want to give everybody a big thank you for season 1. It has been fantastic. We've had a fantastic community. Those are words. We've had a great community coming out each week. We really appreciate it. I've had a great cast, I guess including myself, although I wanted to play more. I didn't get a chance to. I've had very, very good storytellers. I'd like to thank, I know that Rob is maybe asleep, but thank Rob and Roxy and John and yeah, that's it. Sorry. I was going to say Phil, but you unfortunately had to pass yours off at the last minute. So all of them have been fantastic. I appreciate Phil actually stepping up and offering to run as well. Could not have done this season without them. I really appreciate all the time and effort that everyone put into this. It's been fantastic, and we will be back in July. Until then, we've got some other stuff coming up. We've got a short series of Bunkhouse B coming back that Sean and I will be on. We are going to college with all of our salt, with every bit of the salt that we can get. We are just barrels of salt.
And a changing system too. That's even more exciting.
Yeah, we are going from Call of Cthulhu in that to Savage Worlds for Eastern Texas University, or ETU. We've got a couple other short series coming up, so keep an eye out for those. You should be following us on Twitter, and you should be over on our Discord. And I'll tell you why. First of all, our Discord is full of lots and lots of fun things to talk about. We play a little Wordle there. We talk about food. We just have a good old time. Talk about what's coming out and what we're enjoying, and joy bringers and all kinds of stuff. You should definitely check that out. Twitter is a great place though to follow us, so that you can keep up on what we're doing. Both of those are going to be in the chat now. There they go. So don't forget to click on those. Hit your subscribe buttons and your join buttons and all those things. Come on over to the Discord. Talk to us. If you've ever wanted to be on a show, that's a good way to get started, because I know that we're always kind of looking for cast members for the series of Let's Play stuff that's like a one-off, and we've had some really good ones. I've had a lot of fun. We played Big Eye Smallmouth a couple weeks ago, and I had a blast, so I definitely want to come out for some of those on Saturday. Don't forget that this Saturday we have Cinema 12. It's a D12 system for B movies, and that'll be at 2 p.m. on Saturday, and then on Sunday we'll be back at 5 p.m. Those are both Eastern times for Illuminated Page, and then next week we'll be back with Leaps and Bounties and Growing Shadows. They are both off this week. So thank you guys all for coming out tonight and coming out for the season. We'll talk to you hopefully real soon. Bye.